everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and we are going to continue our playthrough of Dead Reckoning here in part number 2. Without further ado, let's go ahead. We're going to roll the die here, the D20, to determine which AI card is going to be drawn. The result of the die is a 7, and this will begin round number 3. The AI card is now on screen, and we're going to go ahead and resolve this left to right. Well, this one is actually very straightforward. We're going to go ahead and have the AI move from the harbor to its final resting space, which is actually going to be an open sea space, and it's going to go ahead and take the advancement there. The advancement's now been removed, and because there was a cannon on that card, it's going to go into the AI's pirate pile. The pirate pile over here is starting to become a little bit scary, and again, we'll talk about this later on when battles begin, but having a lot of cards sitting in this pirate pile is certainly going to help with the AI's chances of doing some big time damage as well as having some big time success during battles. So that resolves the left hand side of the AI card. Now we're going to take a look at that center line on that 1 to 3 row, and you'll notice at the very bottom of it there is an icon there that has 2 influence cubes being placed with an exclamation mark all surrounded in a blue circle. And this particular symbol means if there's any cargo or coins on one or more islands the AI does not control, the AI will place 2 influence cubes on the island with the most coins. If it's tied, count the cargo and coins together. If the target island with coins and cargo on it is blockaded or has a fort and garrison, remember blockaded being around the pirate mode side of things, then the AI will battle you to try and place it there. There is no cargo or coins on any islands currently, so this we can skip right past. And luckily, the right-hand side of this turn 1 to 3 row is blank, so nothing else is going to happen. But you'll notice that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we are starting turn number 3. So this is the last time we'll be referencing the top of this AI card as we go through the rest of the AI card pulls going forward. I've gone ahead and replenished the advancement card that was taken. So let's go ahead and start our turn. I'll tell you one thing that I really want to do, because the ability on the Spire is so cool, being that you can have an additional card, or your hand limit essentially is increased by 1 if you control the Spire. And I have the Buccaneer in hand, which I'm going to place in play, and I'm going to use it for the 2 influence at the bottom. So by doing this, I can place 2 cubes here, which gives me instant control because I have more than half of the blank spaces in that column, and I also get to place a permanent cube on the right hand side in the gray column because it's the first time I'm controlling it. Now, as I mentioned in the overview and part number 1, the jostling of control over a particular island can occur over and over again between yourself and either enemy players or the AI. But remember, every time you regain control of the island, you still get to go ahead and place a permanent cube in this gray column. So that gray column can really start racking up with permanent cubes. Now, as I mentioned in part number 1, I have a first mate card, which once it gets to level number 2, which it currently unfortunately isn't at right now, I can then start building buildings at islands I control. I'd love to go ahead and build an outpost here in order to ensure that when I go ahead and actually do a production, which is the gear symbol, which I can do with my purser card, which is in my hand, then I would be able to gain even more than just the 1 gold stated here at the bottom. I gain 2 gold and a cargo. But in terms of timing right now, it's not going to work. But what I can do is I can hold on to this first mate card and ensure that it's in my hand at the end of my turn, and then choose to have this card as the one that I level up. We'll see if my mind changes when we get to the end of it, but that's going to be my plan going forward. So what other cards do I have that I could potentially play? Well, like I said, I have the purser, so I could actually just go ahead and at 1 island I control, just produce something, which means I could produce that 1 coin, which would show up on the Spire. And because I can load onto my ship freely at an island I control, I can literally just take the coin on board. So I've done exactly that. I've gone ahead and placed the purser into play, used the icons on the card in order to actually produce a coin there, and now I'm going to take that and place it on my ship. Remember, when I decide to set sail during my turn, because I'm at an island that I control, or if I was at my harbor, doesn't matter if I have anything on my ship at that current time in terms of taking away sails, because essentially I could set my sails and then grab the coin afterwards anyway. The coin has been loaded on the ship. The next card I'm going to play is my crew card for the barrel being produced at the harbor. So I'll go ahead and put this into play. We'll take a barrel and I'm going to place it at the harbor. At this point in my turn, I really want to set sail. So as I mentioned before, because I have cargo in a slot, I don't have to worry about it because I'm at an island I control. So I get the full amount of my sails. So I'm going to go ahead and tick this up from 0 to 2. And honestly, right out of the gates here, I want to do some movement. Now, I want to let you know what I have left in my hand here. The first mate card I'm holding off, as I mentioned, to actually keep in my hand. The deckhand card is one I could eventually use to play some influence, but I'm currently not in a spot that I want to do that. And the captain's another one that I actually do really want to get into play, even if I don't use it for its abilities, because at the end of this turn, I can finally sleeve the advancement for the battle card I've been trying to get on there since the part number 1. So I do want to play that one, even if I get no benefit from it, but for now I just want to explore and try to go after that explorer achievement. I've gone ahead and spent one of my movement points to get me moving, and the one thing I'll mention is I don't want to go after this advancement because it costs 2 cargo. I don't even have 2 cargo on my ship to spend to get it, so I'm going to sail off from the spire here. Now the thing to remember, and hopefully I don't forget this going forward, is while you control this island, your hand limit is increased by 1, so that's something to keep note of, is that I can hold on to more cards than I would normally in terms of a carryover, so that's pretty awesome. Again, I'm typically using most of the cards that I have, but there might be a situation where I want to stock up for a really big turn. We'll see. So let's go ahead with my ship. I'm going to move it over here into open sea. We'll resolve this tile and find out what's there. It appears I've found the Devil's Row. Interesting. Another one here with actually some decent requirements around influence that I could potentially go after. Again, I only control 1 island right now, but I've got 3 revealed that are certainly ones that could be swung quite quickly, which is also scary because the AI could walk in and start taking any of these at any point. So there's that. Now we also have to go ahead and place an advancement here for row number 3. The advancement that showed up at the Devil's Row is actually an expensive one, but a good one. And it states right here, the battle ability is to move any 1 cube to an adjacent damage zone. And the other battle ability is if you win, take 1 less damage. So this is actually a pretty good card. But again, I don't have the cargo on my ship to pay for this, so I'm going to kind of move past that for now. Do I want to place an influence? Here's a question. I do have a card. My deckhand could allow me to place some influence at the Devil's Row, which wouldn't be a bad idea. I know I was building towards getting control of Fire Island. I have 1 over here. 1 more wouldn't give me control. I need another one after that. But I'm not there right now. So kind of tempting to drop the influence where I currently am. So maybe I'll go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and place the deckhand in play, and I'm going to use it for its icon right away. The other thing I don't want to forget about is the fact I just revealed another ocean board, so that is 1 more to the total of the Explorer achievement I'm going after. I only need 1 more exploration in order to get that first achievement, which is doable because we know I have 1 more movement, so I could move into 1 more open sea space, and I would get this on this turn. Now, just before I go ahead and move into one of the orthogonal options here around me, I'll likely be going to the east, is I am 1 space away from the AI, and I do have the captain card in hand with the pirate flag as an icon, which means I could actually go into a battle with the AI. However, I really don't want to do that right now because my actual level or amount of cubes that I'd be actually bringing into the battle is nowhere near what the actual AI would have. And it wouldn't have a ton more than me, but it would have more than me, at least double, which I don't like. I'd rather go into it with at least an even battle, if not more, to have the odds in my favor. So for now, I'm going to hold off on that, although the achievements around sinking a ship are certainly there. I really want to do that, or just winning battles in general that have nothing to do with a land battle. That's another achievement I can go after. So, going after these types of situations does have its pluses. I'm just not there yet. I'm going to move, and I think I'll just continue east, as I mentioned. So we're going to go from Devil's Row, and we'll check out whatever's over here. So here we have the Deep Reef Crag, and what does it say underneath of it? While you control this island, your hand limit is increased by 1. So we have another another one here. We're also going to go ahead and draw an advancement for the deep reef, so I'll go ahead and do that right now. Advancement's been placed. It costs 2. It will give us 2 of the wheel symbols, which again are going to be modifiers to getting some really cool abilities, and they will basically multiply things and make an ability or battle ability or something on a card better. And then we have cannons, which are useful for battle, of course. So that's not a bad one either. So now that we are here, the only thing I have left to do, being that I'm done now in terms of movement, yes, I can unload cargo onto an island, and I could have done this at any point in time along the way. It's an interesting thing because you can, even though and this is where you might be thinking about, well, later on in the next turn, I want to be able to have as many sails as possible. I'm now no longer at an island that I control. So when I set my sails, the 1 coin that's actually sitting on my ship is going to limit me in terms of how many sails I get next turn, because I can only set my sail once in the turn I'm in. So I'm kind of thinking to the next turn. So I want to explain to you the fact that now that I have a coin on my ship, it is actually going to impact my weight of my ship and the ability to get more sails. So I could do a couple things with that coin. If I thought it was useless, I could literally jettison it, throw it off the side of the boat. I don't want to see it anymore. Or I could actually just place it on the island. But as you saw with the AI card is crafty, and if you decide to go ahead and place money and cargo just sitting at islands, even ones that it doesn't control, it will try to go to that island and then try to place influence. And of course, if it's placing 2 influence at a place like the Deep Reef Crag, it's going to take it in a heartbeat. Not only the island, but also the money, which is not good. So I'm just not going to do that. I'll leave the coins that I have on my ship, and I want to explain that that has the a possibility to basically impact how the AI works, whether you leave cargo and money at certain locations and stuff like that. But it has its advantages to you as well in terms of freeing things up. So I'm currently at the Deep Reef Crag. What I'm going to do now with the 2 cards I have in my hand, First Mate I'm going to hold on to in my hand. I'm going to play my Captain. I know this is kind of brutal, but I'm literally playing this just because the only way to sleeve an actual advancement on a card is if it's in play. I don't have to use the icons on it, and I'm just not going to. So I'm going to go ahead and place the Captain in play, and going to call it the end of my main phase. Now, as you can see quite clearly on the game board, I didn't take any advancements, so there's nothing to refill there. I could choose to be in pirate mode, but I have no advantage to doing that at this point, so I'll stay in mercantile mode. And we're going to lose any sails we didn't spend or any movement, and I don't have any left. Used it all. So now we can sleeve advancements, and guess exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and place this Battle Drop 2 Cubes ability on and inside of my Captain card. I can tell you I really like the look of that, and that's certainly going to help me in battles. Next, we're going to go ahead and discard, which I have. I've placed all the cards that I had in play into the discard, and now we draw cards up, and I'm going to draw up 4. I don't have any cards in my pile to draw up from because they're all in the discard at this point, so now we shuffle that discard to create a new deck, and then draw from that. Alright, so with the First Mate card, which is already in my hand, because I held that on purpose because I want to upgrade it after my turn is done, and the last thing you do in your turn is discard and draw up. I'm going to go ahead and draw up my 4 cards. So we're going to grab a crew card here, a gunner card, another crew card, and the deckhand. And now I'm going to finally upgrade this card. Now remember, I can go ahead and upgrade a card anytime between the end of my turn up to my next turn. So there is one situation that is very interesting to note in terms of waiting to actually level a card up. Even though I'm really excited to level this up right away, I could wait until the beginning essentially of my next turn, so long as I haven't done anything on that turn as of yet. But the one thing you might want to wait for is a situation where a battle could occur. So let's say hypothetically that the AI on its turn is gunning for you and coming after you. You might want the ability to go ahead and upgrade a card like the gunner card. Why would you want that? Because if you take a look at the gunner card, you can see here at the bottom, once of course it comes into focus, right here, if you upgrade it to level 2, you're gaining a cannon, and that's going to instantly help you in a battle. And remember, you can go ahead and upgrade a card anytime between the end of your turn and the beginning of your next, which means right in the middle of a situation where a battle is about to begin, so long as the battle hasn't already started. But while things are quiet and at peace, I'm going to just go ahead and upgrade this card here right now to gain the ability, as you can see at the very bottom. This allows me to build one of any of the 3 types of buildings, and you'll see there is a red slash, so that means you can only pick one of those 3 buildings to build, and the cost in cargo in terms of how much you need to pay is right beside them. You'll also notice a question mark, and when you see a question mark, it simply means you can spend cargo from your ship or your harbor. Now, one thing that should have happened inside of my turn, because again, leveling happens after your turn is over, is you want to go ahead and mark your achievements. This is something you don't want to forget, because once you get that 4th achievement, it triggers the end of the game. But I am going ahead and explaining a lot of things as we go through here, so take that with a grain of salt that I did miss actually converting my 5 cubes, which I now have from exploring to 5 locations during this last turn, into an achievement. So I've got 1 of 4 that I need to trigger the end game. An achievement marker has been placed, and one thing to note, there's only 3 more unexplored ocean boards that are left available. So we will go ahead now for the AI and roll. We're going into turn number 4. Here is the roll. We got ourselves a 15. So the AI card is now on screen, and remember, we're in turn 4, so we're now looking at the 2nd row, so we're going to resolve things left to right. Well, this is going to be a bit tough here, because the AI is actually heading to go after the other battle ability, of which there were 2 originally on the board that I really wanted to get back to, and this actually is a perfect example of, because of me focusing on going after the Explorer achievement, I didn't go back and revisit anywhere where I could have purchased the specific advancements I wanted and pointed out in part number 1 that I thought were so cool, which is to gain these crowns during battle, which are really going to help out, which we'll talk about once we actually get into a battle. But the AI instead is gobbling them up, making its pirate pile stronger, making its battle ability stronger, which is just going to be fun. Now, what's a little bit terrifying about this is how hard the AI is going after all of these battle abilities or cannons. It's very scary because it's making them very, very tough to go up against as an option during this particular playthrough. I can tell you, in prior playthroughs off camera, the other cards that don't have cannons and don't have the battle ability would all go into a mercantile pile, which is different and doesn't actually bolster the battle situation at all. Somehow it has managed to snag so many of the cards that relate to battling. I'm getting a little bit more terrified of going after this thing. The AI is not done yet. It's now going to head over to Fire Island and snag that merchant ship. Again, when it snags that one, that will be the first advancement or encounter that it's grabbed that's not going to go into the pirate pile. Another unfortunate thing that's going to happen when it lands at Fire Island is not only is it taking the card that was there, it's also going to place an influence cube. So it does appear that the AI really wants to gain control of some islands. As you can see, it's already started on Trader's Rock way earlier in part number 1, and now it's starting to put influence at Fire Island. Now that we've resolved the left-hand side of this card, we're going to go to the middle section of the card, as you can see on screen. And you'll notice at the very top of the middle line, there is a battle symbol. So how does this icon work? Well, if I have 3 or more damage on my ship and I reveal this icon on the center line on the AI card, then the AI is going to attack me. Thankfully, I have no damage on my ship. So the only way this battle would actually occur is essentially if the AI sees that I've been weakened a little bit. So it is pretty strategic and a little bit brutal. It will come after you once it knows you're hurt. And how can you get hurt? Well, you can get hurt by actually attacking that particular ship. Of course, if you go after the AI, you could come out of it with damage. You could potentially also flip a merchant ship, start a battle, and get brutally beat up by it. And then at that point, you're leaving yourself with a ship that's now on fire, and then the AI ship sees that you're on fire and is attracted to those flames and really wants to sink you. And if they do sink you, they're going to be able to go ahead and gain that achievement, which is something they're definitely going to try to do. So with the center line now resolved, we'll go to the right-hand side. The first thing we see is an icon that looks to be a ship upgrade. Yes, indeed, the AI can upgrade its ship, and it will. And as you can see from this upgrade, it's not not going to be one that I like all that much. It's adding cannons to the AI ship, making it even stronger. So it's going to gain the indicated actual ship upgrade that's noted on that row. So if you ever see this ship upgrade on another card, it might look different. So make sure that you grab the correct one. And then once you grab it, you can just slot it into the actual ship for the AI. Remember, the actual board for the AI isn't actually used, so you can see I have a cube sitting in the 0 position. I really don't need to have this here at all because, again, movement-wise, the cards always determine where the movement's going to happen, so there's no counting how many sails of anything. But I do like leaving the board here from the standpoint of remembering it has one cannon by default and allowing you to drop those ship upgrades and just have a visual representation of the upgrades actually going on the ship. Now, we really haven't talked much about the ship upgrades. They're way up there in the top left-hand corner. The ones in the top right-hand corner that are a gray shade, which have a saw, which is the first 3 from the left-hand side, those are all just the regular or basic ship upgrades. The advanced ones all have the yellow top right-hand corner, and they have a saw and a hammer crossed. And ironically, the ship upgrade that the AI is gaining right now, as you can see, is the 3rd one in on the right-hand side, and that definitely is a really good one. Yeah, I'm certainly not a fan of that particular upgrade. The final icon on the AI card on the far right hand side shows 2 advancement cards with a coin on top, and the coin has an X in it, and what that means is we're now going to reference the AI's cards that sit in its mercantile pile. So that's not the pirate pile, so we don't want to focus on this pile whatsoever. And the only reason I've broken it up and not put it in a lump is so you can see exactly how many of them are in here based on these advancement rows here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 currently sitting inside the pirate pile, but we don't care about that when we're talking about this icon. We care about this one up here, and this one there's only 1. So thankfully, because there's only 1, it actually doesn't gain a coin. If there was 2, it would gain a single coin. If there was 4, it would gain 2 coins, and so on. And that's another AI turn in the books. So now we're going to go ahead and repopulate the board with advancements and encounters. And just like that, all the cards are in place, and I can begin my turn. Well, I can tell you right at the gates what I'm doing with my deck hand at the beginning of my turn, and that is to spend this card. Actually, I'll be putting it in play, of course, and then spending the icon on it to gain influence at this place. And as you can see, if I put 1 down, it's not enough to actually control it. You're going to need to have both of them, because again, if it's a 50-50 split between the blank spaces and the space you occupy, or the spaces you occupy, you still don't control it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and actually play 2 cards. I'm going to play both of my crew cards here, and the bottom icon is just simply gaining some cargo, but it has to be at the harbor. So I'll put those in play, and I'll instantly use the icons, and we'll add another 2. So now I have 4 at the harbor. Now, even though the harbor is far away, it certainly gives me a reason to head there, but remember, if I happen to use my first mate along the way and I want to build a building on an island I control, I simply just have to have the actual resources available between my ship or the harbor in order to actually build it. So I can actually spend them while not in the harbor, which is huge, as I've mentioned. I have 2 cards left in my hand right now. The first mate is one of them, and I would love to be able to get the first mate all the way over, or I should say, the ship in general, where I'm currently at in the Deep Reef Crag, get myself over 2 spaces to the spire in order to use the first mate to create a building here. That would be awesome. But remember what I talked about at the end of my last turn? I'm in an interesting situation here because I have a coin on my ship. If I try right now to set my sails, that coin is restricting one of the sails away from me, meaning I'll only have a single point of movement, which is not enough to get me to the spire. And so the question becomes, do I offload the cargo of the coin, I shouldn't say cargo, the coin, to the Deep Reef Crag and leave it there? But again, remember, the AI could potentially get a specific card that allows it to head to an island that has cargo or coins on it and then drop 2 influence, which would immediately mean it would take control of that island. So it's certainly dangerous, but if I want to be efficient in actually getting a building on the spire to maybe defend it or boost my production, and of course it also helps you with endgame scoring, I might want to risk it. And honestly, this is such a tough choice in terms of what building I want, because I do really want to be able to produce more than just a coin there. It would be awesome to be able to take away 2 coins every time and a cargo, plus being able to get the cargo onto my ship is huge for going after advancements that are literally sitting on the board that I'm currently missing out on. The other other thing I'm going to need to focus on is the fact that I guess the benefit of me being here at the beginning of my next turn is I can take advantage of my full sails again, but I'm pretty far out as of right now. And again, this is again the disadvantage that can come into play with going after the Explorer achievement early, is I put myself really far away from my harbor in terms of going there and picking things up. But where I'm at with the spy right now, I can do one thing as I've mentioned, so why don't we go ahead and actually spend some of the cargo I've got here to build something. So I could go after the outpost, the garrison, or the fort. If I want to put up big time defense, the fort is what I want. If I want somewhat defense, and I want to be able to hit the actual AI with some damage, only when it ends its turn on this space would it hit, or when it actually is going to kind of interact with that island, try to put some influence on it. That's when the garrison can really be useful, as well as the fort. And of course, in tandem, if I had them both built, I get the 7 black cubes, which is huge. The outpost is not about causing pain or defending, it's about producing. So that is the trouble with this current situation. And I do kind of want to be able to sink that ship to gain the achievement for sinking the AI. So having the garrison might be the nice balance between defense and actually doing some damage. So maybe we'll go that route. So in order to build a garrison, this level 2 first mate, as it states on the card here, says I need to get rid of 3 cargo from anywhere on the board that I have it. As I mentioned, I'll simply remove 3 from the harbor, and we're down to a single cargo. And now we have a garrison at the spire. Cleanup phase, we have nothing to refill advancements and encounter-wise. I don't want to go into pirate mode at this point. We have no sails to lose or movement to lose, and we can sleeve advancements, but I don't have any, and so we go right to discarding and drawing. So I'll go ahead and discard all the cards that I just put into play, and we're going to draw up 4. Now remember, I still have my gunner in hand as well. So here we go. 1, a purser, crew, buccaneer, and the gunner. That's a pretty good set of cards. There's actually quite a few things I'll be able to do going into the next turn. I'm going to choose right now to go ahead and level up one of my gunners. Now, one thing to note in terms of the achievement up here at the top that relates to buildings, this one's not tracked by a cube, and not all of them are tracked by cubes. You don't just get a cube on this one just because you built a building. What you need to actually have is 5 standing buildings in play, and if you do, then you gain this achievement. So I'm on my way towards that one. And seeing as we're talking about achievements that you need to work towards, the actual building of upgrades on your ship is another achievement, but you need to have 4 of them built to get this one. So again, didn't mention this when I actually upgraded the AI, but the AI now is working towards this one. As you can see, the hammer with the saw is for the advanced upgrades, and the regular upgrades is just a basic saw. But either way, as long as you get 4 of them on your ship, then you gain that achievement. Let's go ahead and roll our die and find out what the AI is doing on its turn. A 6. Now we had a 6 drawn in turn 2, so I'm going to go ahead and re-roll this die. 15. We ironically also just had 15 in the last turn, so we're going to go ahead and re-roll this again. 18. So as you can see on screen, the AI card is showing the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go and play some influence. But thankfully, the AI is going to be moving to a space, and I'm only doing this just to show this for you guys, that doesn't have an island to actually place 2 influence cubes. So that's actually quite awesome. Again, we're on turn number 5 right now, so we're still on that second row. Now it's going to move actually to the same space that I currently am. So it's coming all the way over here to the spire. And this is fantastic. And I could not have planned this any better because I didn't. I didn't plan this at all. And I had no idea that it's crazy that I had the garrison in place for this guy to actually show up here, because I'm going to be able to show you how that damage actually works out now. The other thing too is it's going to land here, but it's also going to take the upgrade that's here. And as you can see, it's going to be another card for the pirate pile. So as of right now, we've resolved the left-hand side fully, but the ship has landed in the spire and it's ending its turn here. So because it does, the garrison now takes effect and it's going to impact that AI ship by hitting it for 1 damage. So hey, that's pretty awesome. I'm liking that quite a bit. So there's a little bit of a fire going on here on the AI ship. And I bet you guys noticed that blue influence icon with the exclamation mark on the AI card. Yeah, it finally came back to bite me pretty quickly actually. So I shouldn't say finally, it happened almost pretty much right away. So exactly what I said was my fear literally came to pass, and that is that the AI is going to take advantage of the fact that I left some money on that island, which I probably should have just jettisoned into the water, which is an actual option you can do to put into the supply to stop the AI for doing something like this. But again, once it's in the water and back in the supply, nobody gets it. So that's no fun either. But in this case, the AI is going to go ahead and place 2 influence cubes at Deep Reef Crag, which is going to give it full control. So this is a great example to show you how it can kind of nudge me out of position to take over. So what it's going to do is it's going to place the first cube in a blank space. The second cube has to go somewhere, so it's obviously going to replace my cube, which gets nudged out. And it will only do this until it gets to a point where it has enough to have control, which is more than half. So it needed to remove that cube of mine. Now it has enough, and because of that, it's also going to gain a permanent cube there because it's the first individual, or the AI is the first person, let's say, or robot, or whatever you want to call it, that has control of Deep Reef Crag. Now we'll take a look at the AI card on the right-hand side, and it states, after the end of turn, place 3 cargo on the highest value island the AI controls. In this case, it only controls a coin island, so it's going to place 3 cargo here. And what's absolutely brutal is the fact that it's going to pick up at the end of its turn all coins and all cargo from all islands it controls. So it will gain the 3 cargo as well as the coin that I left behind. Whoops. So the AI will gain the coin that I left behind on the island it controls, unfortunately, so it's up to 16. It's also going to go ahead and gain 3 cargo. Now, it's really interesting how the AI uses cargo, because it doesn't. Essentially, it will hold it in its supply area, but once it hits 3, which ironically it just got here, then it's going to convert these 3 cargo into a coin. Now, why would it do this, you'd ask? And that's because back when we talked about the achievements, there was one called the Master Merchant where you can trade in 12 cargo to get that achievement, but that's an achievement the AI cannot get. So that is the reason it inherently will convert cargo to coins, because the coin one it can go after. Now I want to correct the terminology that I used to this point when it came to the pirate pile, the mercantile pile, and a merchant ship that the AI can potentially gain. So we've done all the pirate pile cards correctly. Anything with a battle or battle ability keyword or cannons on it goes into the pirate pile. So we've done that perfect. In terms of anything else, it goes into the mercantile pile. But the exception is merchant ships, and this happened quite recently. So what I'm going to do retroactively is actually do what we should have done when we run into a merchant ship with the AI, and that is to flip a coin. There is 2 possible things that can happen here. If you flip a coin and you land it on the tail side of the coin, then in that particular case, you're going to keep the merchant ship on the mercantile pile exactly the way it's shown here. So it just counts as another card in the mercantile pile. So the way we played it to this point would be perfectly correct, except I didn't actually do the coin flip. But we're going to pretend that I actually did the coin flip and got a tails, so we can continue on without any gameplay impact. If the result is a heads, the AI places a cube on the legendary achievement and keeps the advance on the back side. So I'll show you what's on the opposite side of this card. If we had have actually flipped the coin and landed heads, we'd flip it over and reference the bottom section here. And the reason we're doing this is to determine which pile this card will end up in. And it would have ended up in the mercantile pile anyway this way. The biggest difference would have been in this particular case being that this is a mercantile icon, and so is this one, because we don't see any cannons or battle abilities stated anywhere. If there had been, it would have gone into the pirate pile. The one major difference would have been if I had landed the heads on the coin flip that I never did, then there would have been a cube going into the legendary achievement area for the AI. So that's something you don't want to miss. So for the purposes of learning, we're going to have it as if I flipped the coin and got a tails. This ends up in the mercantile pile, and there's no gameplay impact whatsoever. But going forward, any more merchant ships that we gain from the AI, we're flipping that coin. For those curious, on the legendary achievement, it's the one on the far right hand side, all about winning battles. So to review the coin flip result of an AI running into a merchant ship, if it happens to be tails, the card is taken exactly as it's shown face up, and whatever icons are showing, you'll use that to determine if it goes in the mercantile pile or it goes into the pirate pile. The other option there on the coin could be heads. If it lands heads, it's assumed that there was a battle between the AI and the merchant ship, and the AI won. They get a cube on the legendary achievement up there, and as you can see, once 4 are there, then the achievement is given to the AI. And also, it gets flipped over, and whatever actual icons on the back will go into whichever the 2 piles, mercantile or pirate pile, based on the icon. So if it flips over and there happens to be a cannon back there, it's going in the pirate pile. But if it flips over like it did and it happens to be an influence icon, it's going in the mercantile pile. With the AI all squared away, we'll now go ahead and replace any advancements or encounters that have been taken off the board. This new one here has a battle ability on it. It says draw a card. You may play it now. If it has any cannons, drop that many cubes. So I think for this turn it'd be wise for me to head back to Fire Island and try to take control of it as I make my way back to my harbor to gain as much cargo as possible. Another thing I'm going to want to focus on when the card comes around in my hand is the ability to actually do upgrades to my ship to allow me to get more sails, more cannons, that type of thing, so I can be a little bit more productive on my turns going forward. So, and the other thing I want to mention to you guys is I do have another gunner card in my hand, which I might hold over until the next turn to be able to upgrade that one to a level 2 as well. We'll see. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to probably go ahead and set sail. I'm in a place that I control, so no matter what I have in my ship, which actually is currently nothing anyway, I'm going to get the 2 full sails for that. So I'll go ahead and place my marker at 2, and we're going to start moving. So I'm going to head for sure with 1 movement to Fire Island. So I've knocked myself down on my shipboard there from 2 to 1, and I'm going to take my ship and head over here to Fire Island. Again, I don't have, unfortunately, any cargo to be buying these advancements, and I really need to get some on my ship, hence the reason why I'm heading kind of back to my harbor. I'm here right now. I might as well use my Buccaneer. This is the major reason I want to be here. It's going to allow me to use 2 influence markers right now. So I'll go ahead and do that, and that's going to allow me to place 2 in this location, which is enough to actually take control of it. So as you can see here, it fills up these 2 spaces, and now I have 3 of the 4 spaces. Perfect. I go ahead and take a permanent cube. I'll place it over here. So I've got control of another island. So this is really good. Now, the one thing I could do is I can actually sit still. Knowing that I only have 1 more movement left, I can't make it to the harbor this turn. If I stay here, I could produce potentially, so maybe that's what I'll do. I'll use my purser here to allow me to produce an island I control, and that will allow me to put 1 coin on this island. So I'll go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to take that coin and put it right on my boat, because again, I'm not worried about cargo slowing me down, but this is a situation where I'm not going to actually use my last movement. I have 1 more. Let's go ahead and produce some more cargo for my harbor, because first off, I basically gutted it by going ahead and creating this garrison. So I only have 1 at my harbor right now, but if I use this card, it'll allow me to place a second one at the harbor. So I'll go ahead and grab this. We'll place it on my harbor off screen. So I currently have 2 there now, which is why I'm heading back that direction. I've got 1 gunner in my hand here, which I'm going to use, the gunner that I upgraded for a level 2. I don't plan to do any attacks anytime real soon if I'm heading back to the harbor. So I think I will, unless I wanted to go through that merchant ship later on though. Oh, that's tempting. Maybe let's hold on to these 2. I can hold on to 2 cards. Let's just go ahead and hold on to the 2 gunners that I have, and I won't do anything else. So that was a relatively quick turn overall. So at this point now we'll go right into the cleanup phase. Again, I have no cards to refill. I don't want to go into pirate mode at this point. I'm happily controlling 2 islands at this point in time, which is nice. For the first time in this game, I'm actually going to be losing 1 of my sails or movement that I have that I didn't use. I don't have any advancements on me to go ahead and sleeve on, so these 3 cards are going to go into the discard right now, and we're going to draw up. And remember, I still have my 2 gunner cards. So these 2 right here. I'm going to go ahead and draw up 4. So we got the bosun. And actually, just so you're, yeah, the bosun's really useful now for sure. The captain, this is going to be good now that I got those gunners in my hand and a deckhand. Now I have to drop one more card to make 4 for this upcoming turn. So you can see I had 2 in my hand. I drew up 3. I need 1 more. So let's go ahead after I reshuffled. We got the purser. Now, if I want to, I can go ahead and level up a card, and I'm actually gunning more towards leveling up the deckhand now because, as you can see, it would give me a sail, and being able to get an additional sail would be huge because it's something that has been kind of restraining me from doing a lot of movement on my turns. Yes, I can upgrade my ship as well. That's something I'll be looking into in the future, but I have deckhands that can also help me this way. The other thing I want to do is I don't want to upgrade this so early in my turn and then have a situation where the AI does a battle with me. I still have gunners in my hand right now, and I might be able to level them up to help me in a battle. So I'm going to do what I talked about earlier, which is for the first time, I'm not going to level up at the very end of my turn. I'm going to wait and see how the AI's turn pans out. So we're heading into turn number 6, but first we'll do our roll, see what we get. We got ourselves an 8, and we'll go ahead and set the die to 6. All right, so on screen, you can now see the AI card. And again, we're in the second row. This is the last time we're resolving the second row. We move to the third row in the future. Things will be getting even more amped up on us. The very first thing I will do is I'm going to actually have it head out here, where it's going to try to put some influence on something that's here, if there's an island. So we're going to actually go ahead right now, and I'll just reveal this and see. There is something here, and this is Skull Island. And look at the amount of shadowed and influence cubes you need here to actually have this one. So now we'll go ahead, we'll take an advancement off the top, and I'll place it in this position. And the ship is hypothetically here. And when it is here, it's going to drop 3 of its cubes, which is crazy high amount of influence here. Although it needs a lot to take this place over. In order to do so, it would need 1 more. So it's super close to taking one of the toughest islands available right now to grab. So thankfully it didn't land on any other island, because if it had, it would have just probably taken it over almost immediately. So that has now been resolved, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'll place the ship at the harbor position. So this can go all the way back to here, like this, the final resting place for the AI. The next thing on the card is all about any type of coins or cargo left on an island. It will go ahead and place 2 influence. Thankfully, I didn't do that again, so it won't be taking advantage of that. The last thing it will do is, if it happens to control any islands, it will try to build a fort. So the Deep Reef Crag will actually get a fort there, as this is the only island that the AI controls. Now, what if the AI controls multiple islands? How do you know where the building should be placed? Well, you're placing it on the highest value island based on the first place end game points, where there is not already a building of that type. So that's how you decide where it should go, and that makes things very clear. So going back to the island endgame scoring, you can see right here, the Skull Island is a 9 for first place, and the Spire first place is a 3. Again, you take a look at how much influence it takes to actually control it, and it makes it quite obvious why you'll gain certain amounts of coins, being greater at the tougher ones and a lot less at the easier ones. One thing that I forgot to do, but I just caught it in time, is when the ship was in Skull Island here, and there's a yellow border around that particular area on the AI card, I should have taken this advancement, so I'll go ahead and do that right now. And unfortunately, it's going to go in the pirate pile because there is a cannon there. The AI's turn is now done, and we've replenished cards on the board. Just before my turn begins, I hadn't leveled up yet, and nothing horrible happened that made me need to use the gunner to level up to get cannons, so I'm quite happy to go ahead and level up my deckhand to 2. And that's going to give me a much needed sail in the future, or even right now. First card I'm going to play is the Purser card to produce in an island I control, and I'm going to choose Fire Island because I'm there right now. So 1 coin is placed here based on the producing happening, so I'm going to go ahead and place this right on my ship, and at this point in time I'm going to go ahead and set sail. And again, because I control the island, doesn't matter what is on my ship because I could juggle the cargo on and off depending on the timing of things, so I get my allotment of sails. But one thing I do want to do right now is I think I might actually use that additional sail that I have. I need 2 to get back to the harbor, and it would be nice to get back out afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and use my deckhand right now, and I'm actually not using it for its influence yet, but I'll be using it for its sail for sure. And that will bump me up to a total of 3 sails for the first time in the entire game. I've got quite a bit to work with here, and now I'm going to get moving. Now, the first thing that's kind of sad is I'd love to have been able to move into space like this with just a 1 advancement and be able to buy that, but I don't have any cargo on my ship right now. I do have 2 coins, which will help me move towards the 30 coins I need achievement if I can get it back to my harbor in my chest. So let's do that. Let's just start moving out here. I don't think there's anything else I really want to do. I'll check my cards here. I could, once I get to the harbor, decide how many cargo I want to create there, because I have a few cards in my hand that could do that, and we'll have to make that decision when we get there. So for now, I will move from Fire Island to here, and then we're going to move into our harbor. So we made it safely back to the harbor, and now we're going to do some juggling of resources and see what we want to accomplish. Now, while I'm at the harbor for free, I can offload cargo like coins into my chest. So let's place them over here. So that's pretty awesome. Now we're up to 17 coins as I work my way towards 30. I've got 2 cargo sitting at the harbor, and I think 2 is not really enough. I kind of want to bring a lot more with me. That's kind of the thing I want to try to accomplish. So if I go ahead and I bring with me my bosun, this individual would actually be quite useful. It's not good because I'm burning the influence here, but I would be able to produce twice with just a single card, which is quite nice. So I'm going to do that. That's going to put 2 at my harbor, which is perfect because now what I can do is I can have all 4 of these loaded onto my ship like so. So now I've got 4 barrels, which will certainly give me options when I head out. I want to get more cannon advancements on my cards. I've got a really great setup in my hand, and I don't want to go after the AI when it's in its harbor right now, but the second that thing comes out, I want to go after it with what I've got going on in my hand. And again, remember, because I actually have control of the spire, I can have an increased hand size. So what's really, really cool is the fact that I have so many cards in my hand currently that are so good for attacking. I have the captain, I have a gunner, I have another gunner, and I could potentially level one of these things up at the end of my turn and be even more ready. This could be huge to get ready. And rather than going after the merchant ship, which I could do at any point in time, I could go after the AI right out of the gates and just hit it hard when it already has some damage on it. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm in this space with some cargo on my ship, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spend 3 of the cargo right now in order to gain that advancement that's out there. So I'll simply remove that and place it in front of me. So I have no more movement. I've got 3 cards left in my hand. As I mentioned, the captain, 2 gunners. I've got nothing else I want to do. The only reason I'm allowed to carry over these 3 cards now instead of 2 is, as I mentioned, I have an increased hand limit now of 7. So I can definitely keep the 3 and draw 4 up at the end of this turn, and I'll be able to have all that ready for the next real big turn. So that's going to end it. I'm going to stop right there. We're first off going to refill the place that I'm currently in with a new card. No way, we got an advancement with a sail on it. That would be super useful. Not going to go into pirate mode at this point. I don't have any sails to lose, and I definitely want to sleeve an advancement. So I have to sleeve an advancement on a card that I've played. I've got the bosun here that I could sleeve an advancement on too, and it would actually fit on him. But you can see he's not really the one that I'd be spending usually to do battles with. The deckhand could be a good one to pair it with. Not a bad one. It'd be better than the purser, I think. So maybe we'll do that. We'll actually put this one on the deckhand. So with that on the deckhand, we'll go ahead and we'll discard all the cards in play like so. And we're going to take the 3 cards that I currently have that I'm carrying over, and I'm going to draw up 4, thanks to the Spire giving me that additional ability. And actually, now that I think about it, guys, I have control of Fire Island, so I actually have the ability to have another card in hand. I could have actually held over 4 cards. I have a hand limit of 8, which is crazy high, but I just can't make use of that at this point. There are icons in the game to allow you to draw more cards than 4. So that's something to keep an eye out for too. So you really can start going pretty crazy in your turns. So there we go. We got all kinds of crew here. This is going to give me all kinds of resources later on, and the first mate for some building potential. But what I'm going to be gunning for, I think, in the next turn is mainly a battle. So here's what I'm thinking in terms of an upgrade. Got a lot of cards in my hand right now, but the ones I'm focusing on are these ones. I have a cannon on this one. It's already level 2. I could upgrade the gunner here to a level 2, give me another cannon, or I could upgrade the captain from level 2 to a pirate flag, the wheel, and a battle ability. And what that battle ability would be on a level 3 is if I win, I gain coins on my ship per the number of wheels. And this is the first time you guys would actually be able to see that. So every card in play that has a wheel on it, I would gain a coin for it. So after thinking about it, I think I'm going to go ahead and actually upgrade the other gunner that didn't have the cannon. So the one that's at level 1, essentially. I want to get as many cannons as possible. So when I go in this fight with the AI, I can just hit it so hard. So we're going to go ahead and level this up to level 2. I'll flip that over. And that's going to end part number 2 of Dead Reckoning. And I know I promised at the beginning of the video, or at least I hoped to actually have a battle play out, and we could have forced one a couple of times here, but I really want that first battle to be something special where I can show you all the intricacies of what the battle mode has, because I really think it's one of the coolest parts of this game, dropping those cubes down the ship and into that battle board and all the different results that can possibly come out of it. Hopefully what we're doing here is setting up for quite the epic battle against the AI very early on in the next video. So hopefully you'll join me and we'll continue to see whether or not it's possible that I can actually pull off a victory against the AI on video. Thanks again for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.